one of the sabbatical interviews that St.Ation are doing. Today I have the candidate, the only candidate, for the Director of Student Development and Activities, Avery Kitchens. Hello, Avery.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's been a busy morning, but I'm very excited to talk to you today. First, let's just get like a wee introduction for you. So in 2 sentences, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Avery Kitchens and I'm from Gainesville, Florida, which is in North Florida. I am a 4th-year art history and international relations student at St. Andrews, and yeah, I'm running for student development and activities.
Amazing, amazing. Now, why have you decided to run for this position?
Yeah, so I've held positions in the Students Association since my 1st year, and I got really involved with the Societies Committee really early on. I have held the post of SSC Societies Officer for this past year, and I've worked really closely with the DOSDA for the past 3 DOSDAs in the Students Association, and I've always been really interested in the role itself, and I just want to make the student experience as best as it can be at the university.
Yeah, so I've found that so interesting when looking at your profile that you've done all these different roles and you've been so involved with the union. Would you say, as your time being involved with the union, you've seen any like recurrent problems coming up? And if so, why do you think they haven't been addressed?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think that obviously things are a bit different this year, and we have a couple different focuses as things are just a little off kilter. I think this year we probably could do a little bit better communicating with one another. Obviously, it's incredibly difficult. You can't just pop into the Sabb office and ask somebody a question, or pop into the cash office and have them help you set up a bank account. So I think transparency and clarity, no matter how simple we think those things are, that would be a really great place to start. I think the DOSDA line manages 10 subcommittees, so that's something that I'm really interested in taking up most of my time with, is really helping those subcommittees and therefore the rest of the student groups affiliated with the Students Association.
Mentioned the idea of transparency, and that's the thing that keeps coming up in your manifesto. Can you expand a little bit more on that? What do you mean objectively, practically? How would you kind of insert more transparency into your position?
Yeah, definitely. Before I wrote my manifesto, I met with all of the current subcommittee heads that I would be line managing for the next year. And a recurring theme was, we're not really exactly sure what we can do with the union's resources. So that's something I would really like to address early on. And something else I mentioned in my manifesto is meeting with the subcommittee heads to discuss budgets. So as a subcommittee head myself this past year, I really didn't know how to ask for the budget that I needed to help societies get grants and funding. So really having a face-to-face meeting with your subcommittee heads to work out, okay, what exactly do we need this money for, especially in a time where the union is in like many other businesses around the UK, they're struggling financially. So I think if we can allocate that money very sparingly and doing that efficiently, that would be a really great first step.
Yeah, I noticed that, yeah, in your manifesto you talked about making sure you were trying to find other ways to cut budget before we went down to subcommittees. And you said you'd research and you try and find other methods. Is there anything specifically you're talking about, any other areas you think you could cut down on to prioritize subcommittees?
I don't think it's coming down to cutting down. Instead, I think we really need to focus on the usage of commercial space in the Students Association. I know with the Baron, it seems like it's going to imminently close, which is really unfortunate. However, I think we need to kind of adjust our mindset on that and use the space that we have, like the former Blackwell's area. The Students Association Board has been talking for a while about sticking some other commercial entity there, but it hasn't happened quite yet. So I'm really going to push that during the summer, right? Hopefully after I'm elected. And the usage of the piazza right outside of the union itself, I think there's a lot that can be done with that space, and I'm really keen on working with the Director of Events and Services to make sure that space is utilized and income is coming into the Students Association.
And now like to move on a bit about kind of representation and inclusivity, because that's a very big theme within your manifesto. And so I was wondering what you thought, given like the emergence of Instagram accounts such as the Hidden Lives of Hidden Voices of St. Andrews and St. Andrews survivors, and their kind of revealing of experiences of St. Andrews of kind of sexual violence and kind of marginalization. How can we take those useful Instagram accounts, quite sad Instagram accounts, and their experiences that they display, and work that into making societies as inclusive as possible?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. I'm very glad you asked. So there have been harrowing stories shared on those accounts, and I think it's a really, really great platform for people to feel comfortable in sharing their experiences, and also in a way where you can see tangible change coming from it. Obviously, this is early days since these have started, and they haven't been around for even a calendar year yet. But I'm really excited to see some things kind of change, especially in the wellbeing side of the Students Association, and with the Director of Wellbeing candidates. They all mention things about St. Andrew survivors and Ask Angela and all of that. And I think that societies really are in an interesting place where we don't really see a lot of complaints around those kind of things in society events. However, they've been becoming more and more frequent. So with that being said, I co-sponsored a bill with excuse me, I'm not in the Congress, a motion with Elise Lindsay, who is the SRC member for gender equality and the head of Got Consent. So we co-sponsored this motion to make it. We're working towards making Got Consent leadership training mandatory for the committees of all societies. We have a trial period scheduled for this upcoming year to make sure that it aligns well with societies, and it's really, really important. We're doing that just for the timing of things and the efficiency of it, because we want everybody to get the most out of it that they possibly can. So it's definitely on my agenda, and it's something that I'm really keen on working with the rest of the SRC in doing in this upcoming year.
Amazing. That sounds really great. So moving on to, it wouldn't be 2020 if I wasn't going to ask you some pandemic related questions about your upcoming year. I apologize in advance, but it is a big part. So in terms, obviously, a lot of kind of close contact sports and just sports in general have had to put them off for kind of a whole year. How are you going to help this transition, help these clubs with this transition, and how are you going to make people feel safe going to these type of clubs and societies?
Yeah, I think from the society and student group perspective, it's the university bought a very, very, very expensive marquee, which I really hope to use even after obviously coronavirus is going to have lasting impacts for the next year and years ahead. However, the more in-person and indoor events that we get to have, I think that's another really good use of space. That's something I'm really keen on as well. And no, safety is very, very important. And I think that's working directly with the building supervisor. I've worked with him for the past 2.5 years on society risk assessment situation. So I have a very good working relationship with him. And I think working together, Phil and I, along with the university, when it comes to university-based events and open days and things like that, it's trying to find new innovative ways where we can keep people safe, but also really foster the environment of togetherness and having something that's a little bit more back to normal, but obviously in the safest way possible.
Yeah, definitely. And you're bringing up the can-do tent, and I saw that was a big part of your of what you want to do in next year. And people in my year, in first year, have like this big gap between them and societies, because a lot of it has just been taking place online, and so a lot of people might not be connected to any societies because they just really haven't had the chance. So do you have any plans or ideas about how to encourage people who are in my year to join societies and kind of bridge that gap that they weren't able to kind of experience in first year? And would the can-do tent be part of that, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be. I think signposting and, publicizing and getting everything out there as much as possible is really important. I've been a part of creating or putting together the last 3 freshers fairs, and it's a hard process in normal times. So this past year has been incredibly difficult. However, we've done 2 fairs online now, so we kind of know how that works a little bit better, and we can have more engagement and put our resources to better use, I guess. Working with the ACE team at the university, they've been incredibly helpful. And I think taking societies and collaborating them with each other is really important. The Societies Committee just did a Society Mixer event where we gave away £250 grants to our favorite events that societies have collaborated on. And there's been like a body scrub event that Feel Sustainable Development and Sexpression are doing. It's gained a lot of traction on Facebook already. It's really cool to see. So I think collaboration between societies and possibly even collaboration with the university through events like the Can Do Cocktails that ended up going so well. That was an in-person event that helped, I guess, bring awareness to the charities campaign. And if we could have more fun and new events, I think that would really be something that hopefully first years and incoming students would be very open to and receptive to.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I guess another last pandemic question is obviously one of the biggest things that the pandemic has affected university students is, the kind of career attributes afterwards. Not only obviously the graduating class, but obviously the third years will have missed out on kind of crucial internships that they were relying on to build up their CV before their final year. People in study abroad or work abroad had have to get rid of that and missed out on a really important learning and working experience. So do you have any plans to deal with that fallout?
Yeah, I think that's more of one of my long-term goals, is to help really bridge the gap between the Career Center and the Students Association. The previous Arts and Divinity faculty president has done a really good job in creating this school presence advisory group, and that started to snowball a little bit into the DOS's remit. But I think working with the Director of Education, working with the Career Center, and working with alumni networks like the one set up by the rector candidate Fiona Hill is extremely valuable. And we have a new employability officer on the Students Association councils this year. So working directly with them and the alumni officer is something I'm really excited to do. And bringing more events to the student body that kind of go beyond law and investment banking is what we see a lot in the fairs. So I remember, I think it was the end of my second year, I went to a careers fair. I'm like, I'm going to get a job from this. This is going to be absolutely amazing. And then I'm like, I don't want to do law and I don't want to do investment banking. I want to do something. I don't really know what I want to do, but I know it's not that. So I think bringing new and emerging fields into a careers fair and getting people talking about that through speaker events. We had Maisie Williams come in 2018, 2019, and that was something that the DOSTA did. So I'm interested in bringing high-profile speakers that do really cool things back into St. Andrews and really putting us on the map when it comes to careers.
Oh yeah, I would definitely love other options than law and banking, just from a creative perspective. Yeah. Okay, so you'll be glad to know we're done with the semi-serious part of our interview.
All right.
Semi-serious. And now we're going to go on to the quickfire questions.
Okay.
So I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock, and you have to answer as many questions as possible. I mean, like, I physically don't have an endless number of questions, but I'll be very impressed if you can answer all 23 in 2 minutes. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go. Describe your hometown in 3 words.
Alligators, swamp, hot.
Okay. Do you prefer living there or in St. Andrews?
St. Andrews.
Good answer. What hall did you stay in?
I was in Gannicky.
Would you recommend it?
Inside, yes. Looks horrible from the outside. Great community.
Why should people listen to your radio show, Laughed Out of the Juice Bar?
Thanks for bringing that up. It's so much fun. We have a really good time just bantering. So please give us a listen.
Okay. What is the song that will always get you on the dance floor?
I think anything by Arctic Monkeys will probably do it.
Okay. How would you rate your music taste?
11 out of 10.
Very good. Best night out?
Best night out, I think it would be with all of my friends after we've had a few, and then come back and party till 5 a.m.
Biggest fear?
Death? Sorry to get morbid.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, very simple answer. Who's your dinner party guest, fictional or real?
Oprah.
Oprah. Out of the roles you've taken in St. Andrews, which was your favorite?
Society's officer.
What society would you never be part of?
Oh goodness. I don't know. I think they're all fantastic, and I love all of them.
I knew you were gonna say that. Worst module?
Personally, Arabic. I couldn't wrap my head around it. That's personal.
Oh wow. And best module?
IR 3057 arms and international relations. 3060, I believe, actually.
Best three. Oh, time's up. But this is a nice one to end on. Best 3 words to describe St. Andrews.
Homely, tight knit. That's one word. And
okay.
cozy.
Oh, well, on that note, it was absolutely lovely talking to you. And yeah, I mean, I would say good luck for the election, but I think you may have this one in the bag. So thank you so much for coming along.
Yeah, thank you so much for the interview. I had a very, very nice time.
Good, I'm glad. All right, that's St.Ation signing off. Thank you.
Bye.